Welcome to Chatter. I'm Joe. This is Deidre, Mashawn, Lydia, and Natasha. And Chatter is where grown people get together and talk. And we talk and there's no edits. And we discuss things that matter. And today what matters is...
Thriving or surviving. That's my topic for today.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So, I want to know, are you thriving or just surviving? Okay, I'll start. I'll start. I'm going to say I'm surviving in this moment. I was thriving. Like, if you had talked to me before COVID, I was thriving. Like, I really felt like I was thriving. And I liked where I lived, and, but now, no. With how things are being handled, I really feel like I'm just surviving. Like, some days it's like treading water. But with sprinkles of thriving, that's what's funny. It's sprinkles of thriving within the surviving.
And you know what? I'd like to say something. I think a lot of times when we say, "Are you surviving or thriving?" it becomes such a
Extremes, polar opposites.
not just polar. It's like it's a whole plaster. Like, this is it. I feel like it's ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, today might be a thriving day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And today could be a surviving day. Like, I don't feel like we have to put a whole
Like a
label on it,
label.
or like,
Yeah.
like you said, a year, like this year I'm thriving, this year I'm surviving. Like, I don't think it has to have so much label to it, and I think we need to give our time. I feel like we just need to give ourselves time to just experience life. Personally, honestly and truthfully, I never try to decide am I surviving or thriving. Honestly, I never put myself in that category. I'm just kind of going through life. I'm trying to get to, hey, I don't know.
Get to the next day.
I think that excuse me, I don't have COVID. I think the reason I came up with that topic is because I feel like, to go along with the whole 45 thing, to spin fine on its head, a lot of times when people reach a certain age, it's like, I'm fine because I'm still this age. And I'm sitting up thinking, but hell, you crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, are you fine mentally?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we don't sit up and we think about how we're doing mentally in this moment. Like, it's not so much how life is going. How are you doing mentally? What is your mind doing? So whenever I think about fine, I can be a 20-looking 40-year-old and be dead in my head. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a problem in society right now. You got so many people, you look good, but talk to her for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little while. But I do think it's important to kind of analyze where you were. So when I look at 2020, even though COVID hit and stuff like that, I felt like I was in a period of thriving because I had a reset. And then I thought about what do I really want for my life? Like, if this cough was my last cough, because I actually caught COVID and thought I was going to die. And I said, well, how do I want my life to look? Like, what legacy do I want to leave behind? It started making me think, like, I have been surviving for like years, like literally, like you said, treading water. That's not healthy. So I said, what changes can I make to really feel like I'm thriving? Now, even in periods of thriving, in 2020 going into 2021, I made some changes. I had some days where it was surviving. But overall, I felt like I thrived that year because of the changes I chose to make for my mental health, for my time, for who was in my inner circle, and things like that. And even saying yes more. So I started saying yes more to certain things that helped me to thrive a little more. So I think it's important too to kind of just see where you are and be reflective to see what changes you need to make.
I was going to say, if I had to define thriving and surviving, I would say there were parts of me that were thriving. Like right now where I am, my soul and my mental health is thriving because I've done some changes. I pray more, I'm meditating more, I'm, like you said, setting boundaries, I'm just doing things that I need to do to bring my mental health to a place where I need it to be. So in that area, I'm thriving. So what I'm trying to do now is catch up my body, my career, and my goals of catching up to that mentality. So that part of my life is thriving. But as far as setting goals and now trying to be more disciplined, I'm surviving. So if I had to cut it up, I'm thriving and surviving in different areas.
I like the way that.
I like that.
Yes, I like that. And I think you said it so much more eloquently than I did. Okay, like you did that. Like I feel that way. I do think it is important. And I guess I feel that way because I feel like we beat ourselves up so much.
Yeah.
But I think for you taking the time to say, and you said the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to make these decisions. And when I make this decision, it does help me thrive. It does push me forward. And then right here, maybe I am surviving. So you said that very, very.
Because I'm surviving in discipline now. My mind and all that is like, this is what you got to do, Joe. So now I'm trying to catch up. So all areas will be congruent to me thriving. But I get it. Like you said, you have to sit back and analyze.
2020 I lost a lot of people. And I mentally in that, I think I became numb. And that's something I just got to deal with. The whole death thing, I just got to deal with it. But that's always been a sore place for me that I know I got to work on.
Yeah.
But as far as like, scary to say, my finances got better because we were sitting at home.
Right.
So, that got better. My relationship with my husband got even better. Because all we had was each other, and like we did a better job of sitting down with the kids. It was some people got worse and got divorced.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, we doing better than I thought we was doing. Because I'm gonna tell you, when they first said they were gonna send us home, and then he got furloughed, I was like, oh my God, we gonna be trapped in the house together with
all
the kids.
Day long.
With the kids. I was like, this is going to be a hot mess. And then Alicia got sent home because she had to graduate during the pandemic. That's my daughter. I know y'all know, but the public don't. And so it was like, oh my God, all of us going to be trapped in this little bitty house that we rent. And then I wanted to buy a house. And we ain't going to even talk about the housing market. So that was a whole nother thing. Yeah. And so I had all these quiet fears in the back of my head. But we were exercising together. We were eating together. I was making everybody take emergency. We just did a lot more stuff together.
That's beautiful.
Which, like, calmed my spirit. We started trying to meditate. We started having exercise, and that was, that ain't quite my God. But we were. I mean, it wasn't bad. And I was more upset about going back to work than.
And can I say something? I think that's part of the reason why I almost hate the label, because you said something so profound. You said, my husband and I thought, it wasn't as good as it was. So sometimes we have these things and it looks like, or maybe it even feels like I'm just surviving, or it feels like, woo, this ain't good. But then when you peel back these layers of societal things that they say, or expectations, and what looks like this and stuff, and I think that's why I hate it so much. You sit back and you get to the nitty gritty of it.
You're like, I ain't doing that well.
So one time you might have been saying, hey, I'm just surviving in this marriage, when really all the time you were thriving. Which is why sometimes I just don't know if I like those terms. Like, I like it like that, but it's just so much. Life always throws you so much, and when it changes, because it's gonna change, it shows you something different. All this time you think, I don't know.
We was just regular, and he get on my
but
nerves.
And
my kids get on my nerves.
But in the end,
I like them all right.
In the end, when the rubber hit the road, you are thriving, and it didn't even look like it. It didn't even feel like it sometimes that you really.
Oh well, no, not lately. But this past week, I'm just trying to catch my breath.
Right.
And you got to monitor that. Especially we as Black women, have to monitor that and make sure our stress levels and all that, because we are so used to just surviving and getting through stuff. And even just looking at being high functioning depression, and you are making all these things happen, and you don't even realize until you sit and meditate and do those things.
I know you and I have talked about it, but I want to say about Black women don't get the liberty of having meltdowns. Or
no,
just you. We don't get that liberty.
Let me tell you something. Go ahead.
I said I work tomorrow, Deidre. Let me tell me
But you know what? This is what I feel. This is what I feel. You know what? I understand that, and you probably get a little off topic, but as far as the meltdown is concerned, I don't need your permission for me to have a meltdown.
No, I'm talking about that outcome of that, the backlash of that. If you are a Black female compared to others, right? You have a meltdown at work on tomorrow. The outcome will be different if one of our lighter sisters had a meltdown.
That is true.
I told my homegirl at work just the other day, because the medical system where we live it sucks. And they keep sending her home because she has an issue going on. And I said, girl, if you don't go in there and cry, you a white woman. You cry. Your tears mean something. Okay? Cry and make them give you some better services so you don't die.
But you know what?
And she just kind of laughed. I mean, we got that kind of relationship, so she knows.
Right.
She's like, you know what, you're right. I'm like, if
I don't
you
even
can't
think
cry,
we know
you
how
an
to do
actress.
that though. Like I don't.
Yeah,
even
no, I
think,
don't know how to cry.
I'm not trying to be
break down.
funny, but I don't even know
fix
how to go and just be like, whatever's given to us. I don't know how to be like, okay, this is too much. I can't do it. I'm getting to that place, and I know that we're going to get to boundaries. We're getting to that place, and we joke about the whole crying thing, but sometimes it is just a matter of saying no, or pushing the issue. But I don't even think you know how to cry.
Like that.
I don't even know how to cry to get my way at work. I don't even know how to do that.
Yeah, that is true. That we don't have that luxury and things of that nature. But I don't know.
Just how we treat motherhood and stuff too. Like, I mean,
in that area, I am.
You learning?
No, I am. What is it? Thriving
or surviving.
In motherhood, I am literally surviving. Like
that's
the way you broke it down.
That's
everybody. Last year, I would say spiritually, like I was doing my little daily Bible stuff. I was doing all that stuff. This year, especially my church still is not open. I'm just have to find a new church home to physically go to, because I look at church every Sunday, but that's not enough. Yeah. So I feel disconnected. So spiritually, that right now it's not. But motherhood wise, I'm like, I don't know what
Lydia, that's
I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I thought I learned from Claire Huxtable how to be a good mama. I'm like, messing up.
Yes.
That's everybody.
Look,
that's everybody.
Okay, but you did that thing. Like,
no,
your kid is grown. But I get it though. You do still feel like, am I messing my kid up? Like I already told my oldest child, don't you go on Oprah later on? Tell me.
I told Devin. I got the suit ready. I told
you better tell me now how I'm messing you up.
In it, you just don't feel that way. I think every mother feels that way. I don't think any mother would pat themselves on their back until maybe years later
when you see them.
When you see the fruit of your labor. But while you're in that minutia of it, you are just surviving, because they don't come with a book. They don't come with instructions. Every child, I don't care how many children you have, every child has a different personality that they cater to. So mama, you have 3 children, and you have to be mama to 3 children, 3 different personalities. So, and we don't come with no book with that. So I feel like if the kids are alive, at the end of the day, you throw.
That's the point.
She said at the end of the day,
if they still alive,
she didn't say the month, she said the day. We just made it today.
You have thrived. You have thrived. At the end of the day, the kids are alive. Yeah. Mama had thrived that day. And they clean and no. Hold up.
That's you and your stuff coming out.
No, that's no. We ain't saying nothing about clean. We said alive.
That's
so
right.
They don't get up there and they can get up and go to work, school the next morning. They get up, made it.
That's right.
Clean.
Ain't no. In my classroom, if the kids stink, I will take them.
Well, let me say, do you know how many baths you have to make to miss the stink? That's a lot of baths. So we can get one day without the.
Not some of them.
I guarantee, if they take a bath every day, if your babies miss one, they ain't gonna stink. I promise you, your baby.
I'm gonna ask y'all a question. So go through and just say what. At the end of maybe the week, what makes you know, all right, I thrived this week? 7 days.
I have a mental checklist.
Okay.
And I was able to check off most of the things in that list.
Okay.
One was getting ready for this. I had to pack, and I had some other endeavors that I had to do. So I did everything I was supposed to do. I ran all my errands. I made all the phone calls. So I have a mental checklist every day, even on the job.
You got it mental? You don't have to write it down?
I don't want to see it, because if I do see it, I don't know. It's up there. In my mind, I sit down, I meditate. This is what you got to do this week, Joe. So I did. If I had 10 things, maybe I'm just going to say give or take. I had 10 things on that list. I did 8. That's a B.
Okay.
I thrived.
Okay.
Well, I have a notebook. I have to write mine down. Okay. And every day, some stuff goes over to the next day. Because I got me a cute new planner, that breaks it down daily. Okay. And so this week was a hot mess. But on a regular week, I'd say if I did most of the stuff, no. If I did 2 things on the list, I've done good.
All right.
Okay, I've done good. at the end of the week, I just be glad the week over.
Okay.
I don't necessarily do a mental check.
All right.
Okay, so I'm the one that don't have labels. So
Okay.
I guess at the end of the week, if my mind is clear, if I don't feel irritated, sad, or depressed, I thrived.
Okay.
I don't have a checklist because something might come up, and I might have to handle that right now. So I don't have I just don't do the whole list thing. Yeah. So
I have to do a list so I don't forget.
At the end of the week, just so long as I don't feel depressed and worn out and depleted from, I guess I'm thriving.
I like that. That
depleted.
Yeah. Mine is like dysfunctional. I feel like I have so much jam packed, and I feel like
you have so much what?
Like jam packed, like my schedule. Yeah, I do, and I'm gonna cut. I've said no this year for stuff for next year, so my next year's gonna look different. Boundaries. But I'll have things stacked. Like you're like, well, what did you figure out about Mia today? And I was like, no, not yet. So like if I've done everything that day by myself with no help, and like everything just fit, like Mia lost her game this morning. That's how I was able to be like, I'm like, oh yeah, we did that. Even though she lost, I was like, bam, fist bump. We gonna be on time. You know what I'm saying? If I have like a meeting at this time and the other one ends like a minute before, I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like literally. But that is like high anxiety.
It is high anxiety.
So that makes sense.
I'm sorry, that so depends on so much that's outside of your control.
Exactly. But like it's dysfunctional. So I'm figuring that out while we're talking. And that's probably why like some weeks I feel like so like you know what I'm saying? Because I've operated like that say for a month. And then I have like a few days where I'm like I can't sleep and I just feel, so I need to work on that, ladies, and thank you for helping me through.
But this flexibility, let me tell you something, this flexibility in my definitions, because just like you said about there's some things that are outside our control. If something doesn't get done because I had to prioritize something else, then that's fine. I don't consider myself a failure if I only did 3 because maybe those 3 things took priority in my life. I had to do it. So at the end of the day, thriving and surviving, I'm gonna feel good with Joe, and that's what I had to really work on.
So we're gonna end with thriving. That's what
we thriving.
Okay,
and so I like that what you said of how you feel at the end of the day. You know, do you feel depleted, depressed, and all that kind of stuff. So that's a good gauge as well.
Yeah, that is your anxiety level. But sometimes I think my anxiety level, I just bring it on myself with my list. Not my list per se, because I need my list. So
your expectations
of yourself,
and so I have all these goals. So let's go into the fine thing, in my whole concept of 45. Okay, just being fine, period. Because you can be 35, 25, any kind of fine. 8
50
fine.
fine.
50 fine. Okay, we almost there. Lord Jesus Christ. So,
Okay, why is that part 40? Right, your expectations with being 40 and
being fine mentally. Being fine mentally. Okay? Yeah. So part of my being fine mentally was me striving to get some. Okay, so let's. So my being fine mentally.
Take your time.
Was achieving some of the stuff I planned for my I know you said expectations. My expectations are not what the world expects. Because I've always been different.
That is true.
Okay. Yeah. My expectations are what did I want for myself, and I think I spent so much of my time doing what I thought other people wanted me to do. So when I got to 40, because 40's been awesome.
Yeah.
I stopped caring so much about what other people expected.
Yeah, that is so true.
So that was my fine, and now I have all these goals I want to achieve, and that adds to the list because I got to try to squeeze it into motherhood, wifehood. You got to make sure, you got to make sure you do all this stuff. So that's my fine. What's your fine?
My fine has when my grandmother used to have this saying, and I live by this, and I'm gonna get it tattooed at 50. It said, "To thy own self be true." And at the end of the day, when I've been true to myself, no matter what it is and no matter what degree, if I had to confront something, if I had to do something, if I had to say, Joanne, okay, you were wrong, I had to be honest about my feelings, whether I expressed it, but I had to feel it. That's when I feel like I'm fine. When I have been true to my authentic self. That's when I feel like I'm fine.
I like that. So mine is not like me. It's about my kids. So I don't want to cry.
Oh.
So for me, it's really about leaving a legacy for my kids. Okay. And I want them to be able to have something, because we as Black people are already starting behind because of how society is set up to keep us behind. And so for me, I want my children to have something. That's right. To leave something behind. And I want them to be good people. So a lot of people are like, oh, your child get A's and B's and this and that. I want my kids to be good people.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And that for me is fine for me. Now, of course, it's going to take time for me to be able to see that. But I'm doing things right now, I feel.
You planting the seed.
Yes. To really and truly leave a legacy for my kids. And they're not starting behind. They're not starting with student debt and all these kinds of things that we have to face. But also that they produce something, they leave something better behind for this world.
That's right.
If that happens, like that's me being totally fine. I can live in a 1-room shack, and that will make me be fine.
I like.
Yeah, that's our amen.
Awesome. That's awesome.
All right, Tasha,
I know that's so hard to come behind since I was already struggling. So let me see here. So for me, being fine, I think it is. I think it's a little bit a mix, honestly, of the two of you, because to me it is important to be to be true to myself and know myself, just like to really know what it is, who I am. And you would think at 40 I would have it, and I think I do, but sometimes it changes. So just to make sure that I am pleased with what God has in me, and I'm doing what God has me to do for Him. So always making sure that I'm doing that, and then making sure that I am. And you all know me. My whole world are my babies. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I can kind of to know that I am producing people that are going to be productive members of society, and giving back. So I keep praying. Just to let God lead me and make sure that I'm following Him. So I guess as long as I feel like I'm following Him, what He has for me, and I'm knowing who I am, then I'm fine. Yeah. I think that's.
I like that.
I think.
But you didn't like mine, right? So.
No.
Oh, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Chatter, where we discuss things that matter. And we want you to tune in weekly. And also when we start our social platforms, we want you to engage. We want you to know. We want to ask you, what makes you fine? Are you thriving and surviving? And in what areas? We want you to talk back to us. We want you to chatter with us. Thank you.